Syndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
What is going on?
There are certain times and certain things you do in life where you think of certain people.
Yes.
So this week, just the other day, I got caught up in what we consider a rabbit hole.
Okay.
The rabbit hole is on NFL Network, America's Game.
Mm-hmm.
You seen the series?
Yes, absolutely.
They literally go through an entire season for the Super Bowl champion based on that season. Hour long, beautifully done, narrated by three individuals who played for that Super Bowl team. So, case in point, 2006, Colts win it. It's Jeff Saturday, it's Tony Dungy, it's Peyton Manning. I'm watching the other day, and I can't stop. It goes from the 74 Steelers to the 75 Steelers to the 76 Raiders, and I thought of you. And I'm thinking, this is the kind of shit that Sean and I would sit back, grab a beer, grab one of his really good brisket grilled sandwiches.
Oh, let's go.
And talk about Andy Russell and Phil Villapiano and whomever, right? And we wouldn't stop. I mean, the only thing we would need is a urinal next to us to prevent us from getting up. And I had to talk to you about it because that is not that it's our era, but those are the kinds of guys that you and I used to love watching play football, right or wrong?
No, 100%. I love those things. And Shep, I always joke my dad always used to like get mad at me because like he'd ask me some like school question. He'd go, what's the 13th Amendment? And blank look on his face. And then he'd go, what's the score of Super Bowl 13? And Dad, don't disrespect me like that. It was the Steelers 35 and Dallas 31. What are you going to do with all that knowledge? Useless knowledge. And so, trust me, I reminded him of that many a time before we passed. But no doubt, especially right now, Shep, because one of the things that I want to, this is like the dark times for me. Because the Tigers are an abysmal bore to watch. I'm tired of watching Kenta Pelfrey trot out there every few days. I'm tired of it, and don't worry, he's this close and he's going to figure it out. Just like, stop it. It's 7 weeks until week 0 starts.
Hold on a second, Sean. You don't agree with a 2-year, $24 million contract, a man who's making $14 million this year, and has an ERA close to 7, you think that's a good signing? You don't think that's a good signing?
It's all right. Don't worry. He's this close. He's just going to figure some things out and, all of that.
What about Shelby Miller? That was a good signing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
His ERA is well over 6.
Okay.
He's got a great strikeout to walk ratio.
Don't worry.
Mark Canna, you don't like
you
want to fight? You got a problem with the 226 average?
He gets on base. I mean, that's right. That's what it's all about. Honestly, Shep, I'm not joking. And you know this, all right? We had season tickets for years. My kid and I we went and saw them out in Anaheim just last week. I'm exhausted by it. Like, honestly, I am. I'm tired. I'm exhausted by it. I don't want to argue anymore. I don't want to, have conversations with people that tell me you're seeing something that you're not seeing. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. I mean, honestly, Shep, and you had a front row seat for a lot of the stuff the last 8 years, okay? We went through an era where people argued adamantly until the day that they decided that he wasn't coming back, that Brad Ausmus was a great manager.
Right. Yeah.
Really, that happened. We walked through that era. And then we had an era where everybody said, don't worry, it's coming because Al's doing it the right way. Right. And conversely, I think this is the one that blows my mind the most, Shep. Okay. The slander of Dave Dombrowski's name is unbelievable to me. It really is. It's unbelievable to me. I mean, Yeah, as you well know, Shep, he hasn't done anything since he left Detroit. He hasn't done a darn thing. And that's the kind of stuff that I like. I can't have conversations about it anymore. I just can't. Like we're like in two alternative universes
Bro,
where
those are the people. Those are the people who are going to. We have too many of these people in our society. They're going to hate on somebody because of their experience and then ultimately refuse to give them credit for anything they do.
yep.
Dave Dombrowski did not fix a bullpen, but he tried.
Mm-hmm.
He put together an entertaining, competitive, and borderline championship teams, plural, okay, with a Hall of Fame manager. And he did it with a lot of guys who we didn't even know or care to know before they got here. Like people didn't follow Placido Polanco or Carlos Guillen. Sure, they knew Maglio Ordonez and Ivan Rodriguez, but there's a lot of
Doug Fister.
Doug Fister, yeah. So he did. I think he did a really good job. I think obviously he didn't fix the ultimate need, and that was the bullpen. The hiring of Brad Ausmus was a mistake. There's a lot of mistakes made in baseball. There's a lot of mistakes made in sports. My problem is people refusing, like you said. He's done nothing since he left. Oh, okay. So he didn't do anything in Boston, didn't do anything in Philadelphia. If you say so, all right. All you're doing is making yourself look idiotic, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And to say that everything's fine right now is because they're building it the right way is completely, non-objective. They're just not paying attention.
It is. I think it is no other way to say this, Shep. It is the convenient way to keep kicking the can down the road, and I think that's what this franchise has done for 7 years. Well, just believe in the invisible. Their help is on the way. Wait till you see this made up name in Erie. Wait till you see this made up name in Toledo. Wait till you see this made up name in West Michigan, or God forbid the guy's playing down in Lakeland. That's what it's been. And it was funny because there's this thing called the internet. I don't know if people know this. There's this thing called the internet, and you could look up the numbers of all these magical little, can't miss prospects and everything. And I can't tell you how many times you look up these numbers and am I missing something? Is there some kind of number that that the advanced metrics guys are looking at that isn't listed here that maybe I'm not seeing it right now? And it's unfortunate. And listen, I feel sorry for Scott Harris. I do. Okay, he inherited a crap show. But if we're gonna be honest, all right, Scott Harris has been his own worst enemy as well, in a myriad of ways. I think the Erod situation last year is one that jumps front and center. So while I'm not putting him to the fire, Shep, just yet, okay, there isn't a lot of signs that make me go, golly gee, he's got us on the right track.
Well, but it's not just that. I mean, and I agree with that. Look, the Eduardo Rodriguez thing is really unfortunate and was very miscalculated. There's no doubt about that. And Rodriguez ended up coming out on the positive side of things because he made more money, right? He hasn't pitched for Arizona, but he's made more money. The other thing, though, is the off-season needs that everybody knew this team had to have, okay, were not addressed. And let's face it, the amount of money spent, or the lack thereof, of roughly $106.5 million, I believe is what it's at, ranked 23rd in all of baseball. And you know me, Sean, I've never been a guy who believes that you got to spend a lot of money to win. You don't have to do that.
No,
okay?
You don't.
Cleveland's done a wonderful job of it. It helps to have certain guys like Jose Ramirez, one of the best players in the game. But just because you spend a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to win. Mets, Padres, Blue Jays right now, Cubs right now, all in the top 10 and aren't winning. But you do have to address certain needs. This team did not, in the offseason, address the needs in order for this team to be competitive in this division, period.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
No.
And it's really too bad because it's not that I think the division was so winnable. Cleveland's better than you and I thought. Kansas City's better than you and I thought. And Minnesota has been better than I thought they would be. Yeah. Detroit is not as good as I thought they would be. And Yeah, Gio Urshela's on base percentage is under 300. He's a guy who's oftentimes been injured. I just don't think they went about this the right way. Now, in fairness, Spencer Torkelson, they were expected to have a big season, and that hasn't transpired. But it's not all on Spencer Torkelson, okay? It's on the entire lineup. I am so tired of hearing about versatility in baseball. When you look at the best teams in baseball, go ahead and look at them. Baltimore, Philadelphia, the Dodgers. What are they? Guys in the lineup every single day at key positions.
Yep.
Alec Boehm's always playing third. Trey Turner's always at shortstop, right? You've got guys in the same spot, whether it be Harper, Realmuto, Castellanos, all these guys in the same spot. You're going to have a couple, maybe not. Detroit's got them all over the place. And I just don't think it's fair to Tigers fans. And I think it's ridiculous. I think you want an everyday guy at certain positions.
And you know what? I think a lot of other people are feeling that way. Nick said, I'm at the point with the Tigers almost as I am with the Pistons. It is unbelievable. We ran Dombrowski out of town. Shep, apathy, we've said it 1,000 times. Apathy is the worst thing that can happen. The only team that is immune from all of this, the Lions, have superpowers because people continue to go to Ford Field as they continue to go to Silverdome. I remember one time, it was maybe the 88 season, where people just kind of stayed away. That was just a disaster. There was no reason to go. Then they drafted some guy named Barry Sanders. But to everybody else, and listen, okay, I remember I was there in 04. I was there in 05. That's when we had season tickets. I can't tell you how many nights there was nobody at the park. And unfortunately, it's been like that for a while. Now, you're going to get the good crowds on the weekend. And Shep, as God is my witness, I've said this 1,000 times, even when we did that stupid march that Rob Parker tells everybody he did. I will never tell people to stay away from a game, ever. Never going to happen because I'm a hypocrite. I like going to games, but I can't blame anybody. Why am I with the way things are right now, especially? Hey, newsflash, our economy isn't exactly good right now.
Right.
How could I blame anybody for not wanting to go down there? Are you kidding me?
I don't blame them at all. Look, it costs a lot of money to take a family to any sporting event. So when you're giving me this, well, I'm going to management load my certain team in basketball.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Or in baseball, I'm going to do what happened to the Yankees the other day. Trent Grisham comes in lollygagging after a ball, and Aaron Boone makes an excuse for him afterwards. People want to get pissed off about that. They have every single right to, because what you expect is something that the players always tell us that they expect in the first place. 100% effort, all this other stuff. Then let me see it. We don't get that, but we're not getting it from a lot of front offices either. So we can talk about players all we want. They're not good enough. But some of the things that the front offices aren't doing on behalf of the fans isn't good enough either.
Nope, no doubt about it. A couple comments.
How was LA, by the way?
I want to talk to you about that. Bill said Kenta is so bad, straight meat. Shep rocking the stars and bars. Eric said, Shep, love when you called Michigan basketball games. So always nice to get that love. LA is everything that you see on television, Shep, doesn't even tell you what a disaster that city is. I have no other. It is atrocious. And this is, I'm not joking. I hope somebody doesn't think that like I'm going political here. It has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with fact. It is, there are people crapping on the streets. There are tents, not a tent, tents, plural, everywhere, every 50 yards, not just underpasses, in the middle of sidewalks. It looks like it hasn't had a street sweeper since 1979. I think Willie Stargell hit a home run the last time that they had a street sweeper. It is the city's an absolute disaster. There's no other way to say that. But
San Francisco's even worse.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard. Shep, you know what? And I know I texted you, but for the benefit of people out there, I really liked the Big A. There was a certain old stadium charm to it. And would I put it at the top of the heap? Absolutely not.
Right.
But it was funny. My son and I actually wasted time like ranking all the stadiums we've been to. I think we had it at 8 out of all of them. So it was about middle of the pack, but it was very clean for an old stadium, because a lot of times you go to an old stadium and it's not very clean. You could tell that they made a concerted effort to keep the place clean. I liked it. It had an old baseball feeling charm. I liked it. It wasn't great, but Shep, I liked it. It was a good park.
Yeah, it's. I think I told you before you went. I said, I probably had it just outside my top 10.
Mhm.
I think it's okay. I don't think there's anything that makes me go, "Wow, I've got to come back." But it's not that it's awful either. I try to think of the really bad ballparks. Chicago's guaranteed rate field, Oakland being two of the worst stadiums. Period. So it's nowhere near anything like that. I just don't. It's not one of those ones that I would have to absolutely write to you and tell you you've got to be here. You know what I mean?
We put that near the bottom. You mentioned Chicago. That was near the bottom. I love the atmosphere around the Jays. The stadium itself is awful. It's just a big cement blob.
Right.
And New Yankee Stadium had absolutely no charm, in my opinion. None.
Tampa's terrible too.
Tampa's the worst. That's like in its own. That's in its own zip code, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
It was just
it's horrible.
absolutely. Nick said Rogers in Toronto is actually decent now with the major renovation. See, now in fairness, I haven't been there, I think, since 18.
Yeah,
Big
they
cement block.
they put in they had a 2-phase renovation. So I
Mhm.
was there last year with the first phase, and it looked better. It looked better. I haven't obviously been there since the second phase. So
Okay, good. Hey, let me take a moment and tell you about our friends at All About Catering. If you're looking to host a big shindig, you don't want to do the cooking, well, you got to call All About Catering. All About Catering LLC is a full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering will take care of you. They've taken care of me. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus, all their 5-star reviews, or call 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Rick and the gang will take care of you as they have taken care of me and my family. Tim said Target Field. That's one I haven't been to yet. I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I think we have to ask ourselves, what's important to you when you go to a ballpark? Because I think baseball ballparks are different than any other, stadium arenas. I think there's got to be a feel for baseball there. That's just my opinion.
100%. I agree.
I want some type of ode to the history of the ballpark or the history of the team or the city. Something that tells me, if I'm new to that city or it's the first time I'm going to the ballpark, something that tells me about it. I think Target Field has some of that feel to it. So I don't mind it. Again, I would put it above Angel Stadium, but it wouldn't be in my top 10. So
I want to clarify.
That's a good call.
I want to clarify something too. To your point, I absolutely loved Old Yankee Stadium. I mean, loved it. Capital L. And I hate the Yankees with every fiber of my being.
Mhm.
But to me, Shep, New Yankee Stadium is a monument to, like, let's make money. That's there's no charm there. There's every possible thing you can think of to bring in the big money. There's no charm there. It was literally just a cathedral, in my opinion, built to, okay, let's bring in this wealthy guy and his family, and then we'll put another wealthy guy in that family in that loge, and then another wealthy guy. It wasn't even like a stadium to me. It was just a monument to, let's make money.
Have you ever been to Staples Center?
Yes.
Okay. So that's how I feel about Staples Center. I think Staples Center is a big mall that they happen to play basketball in.
Mhm.
Yankee Stadium's a lot like that. The thing I do love about Yankee Stadium, though, is obviously Monument Park out in center field.
Awesome.
And then if you go into their bullpen, it's pretty awesome what they've got available to relievers, both home and away. So there are little idiosyncrasies. If you go into their clubhouse, it's pretty cool. But look, when you've got teams like that, they've got the opportunity to spread the wealth of knowledge and historical significance with their team. Detroit has that opportunity. Detroit just hasn't done it.
Mhm.
But I'm with you on Yankee Stadium. I think it's just a ballpark
Yeah.
where old Yankee Stadium was there was something special about it.
Oh.
Sometimes it's hard to describe, but it had a different feel than from this one.
Like the second you get off the subway, and it was funny because my son never got a chance to go to old Yankee Stadium, but taking the subway down there is special. I don't care what anybody says. And you got off the subway and you saw that beautiful old building. And here I was building up my son and going, oh, Jack, the subway ride, it's part of the like really that was our feeling going into the new one. Nick said Petco is good. Haven't been there yet. PNC is top 3 for me. Shep, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you and I both agree. We have Pittsburgh at the top, my son and I. That's like our number one. That's literally our number one field.
Yeah, I would say Pittsburgh, San Francisco is really, really nice. Even though it's cold. I love Kansas City. You know, we've kind of gone through this. You've got to go to Fenway. It's a must. You have to go to Fenway. Yeah. But Nick brings up an interesting point. He says the A's should be condemned possums in the visitor broadcasting booth. Last year, I was in that visitors broadcasting booth after the possum was, reported, dropping down or scurrying around the broadcast booth in the media area. They had ripped out the carpet. They had put in laminate hardwood floors. They had changed some things so it didn't smell quite as bad, but it still smelled bad. And I remember looking out at the broadcast booth and with a lot of the wires, and there was this massive piece of feces there. And I literally said, well, you got to get somebody in here. I don't know if it was a cat. I don't know if it was a possum. I'm just telling you right now, it's some sick crap going on there in Oakland. When I had called Lions and Raiders there years ago, I was down on the field, and as you know, the sidelines, kind of backs up to the dugouts. I was waiting to, walk around with Calvin Johnson and all those guys, whatever it is for their preseason game. And this massive rat, and I mean, it was massive, bigger than some of the people you and I've worked with in the past. This thing was humongous, running in the dugout. I thought it was a cat, Sean. It was so big. It was so flipping big. So yes, to his point, you are correct, sir. Nick, Oakland should be condemned.
I remember seeing a giant rat at Tiger Stadium when I was probably 9 or 10 years old, Shep, and I was so terrified by it. I had to look up in my dictionary when I got home, different kinds of rats, and I figured out it was something called a Norwegian rat. That's how big it was. I mean, honestly, it looked like a small animal. Eric said, want to go to Yankee Stadium big time. I'm a Yankee fan. Yeah, I'm not trying to dissuade you from it. And this isn't even, as I said, this isn't even an anti-Yankee thing because Yankee Stadium was unbelievable. New Yankee Stadium, I'll take a pass. Shep, you brought up something too. I think it's almost unfair to compare the old school parks to the new parks. I do. Yeah. I would put Fenway and PNC on the same level, okay? PNC is nicer because of the modern amenities. Fenway is just baseball. I much more so for me personally than Wrigley is. It's just baseball. There's just something baseball about it.
Yeah, Dodger Stadium's right there behind it.
Agreed. Love Dodger Stadium. Absolutely love Dodger Stadium.
And they do it right. They do a really good job of promoting their team and the history of their team. It's great.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Wealth Advantage Group. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by two brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. See those handsome brothers? The guy on the left just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Mike. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 states. The investment world is a complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with a couple of experts. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or visit their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Shep, I'm not joking. I hate this feeling that I'm at right now. I'm not even being funny, okay? Here we are, ripping on Kenta Pelfrey, Kenta Zimmerman, whatever the case may be. I don't like this.
Kenta Weaver.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't like this. Like, I'm literally dying for week 0. I mean, this next 7
Is that
weeks.
what your tweets are about? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
7 weeks until week 0? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes,
okay.
week 0. And just the fact that I can watch 3 or 4 college football games to get me out of this rut of watching the Tigers, because I'm serious when I say this. There is no worse feeling than the feeling where you're watching a team because you feel obligated to watch a team. And that's where I was on the 4th of July. It was like I had some stuff on the smoker and I was like, well, the Tigers are on. Don't I kind of have to watch the Tigers? It's the 4th of July. Like, honestly, that's the worst feeling in the world. And I'm never going to be one of those guys. I'm done with them. I'm done. I'm always going to be a Tiger fan. Okay. Period. End of story.
I get it. Yeah.
It's a chore to watch them, and I hate that feeling. I hate it with everything.
Why do you feel the need that you have to do that? I mean, is it strictly because you're a Tigers fan and you just came back from Los Angeles and you watched them? I mean, think about this, Sean. I mean, until last night, they're 9 games under 500. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
They're 39 wins. 39 wins. Think about that. Okay, they would be. If you're playing in any other division, okay, you're second to last or last. It's not like, oh, this division is, it's so tough. They have just 9 more wins than Miami, and Miami is horrible, absolutely horrible. I mean, even Cincinnati just swept the Yankees, and I know the Yankees have struggled. The Cubs are in last place in the Central, and they had 2 more wins than the Tigers did. Arizona's under 500. But they still have more wins than Detroit, and they're in the West. It's just, I don't understand why the field and the need, unless you're ready to talk about it, like you and I have talked about. Why the need to watch them? Why give them your time then?
No, it's a great point. I wish I could answer it. I honestly, I feel obligated to watch them. Well, they're on, so I'm going to watch them because let's face it, with the bad television on everywhere. And
well, that's true. Look, and I'm not trying to be a hypocrite because I do the same thing. I'm just I do it because you and I have these conversations, and I want to make sure we're coming at it from a perspective that a lot of viewers or a lot of listeners don't have an opportunity to watch them. So I want to make sure we're doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not. Look, there are certain guys I like. I said this a long time ago. I think Cole Keith's eventually going to hit. I like Parker Meadows' defense. All right. I believe Spencer Torkelson in the long run is going to be good enough. And I do think Riley Green's good too. I just don't think this team is built the right way. That's all. And you've got teams in the division who are, and the other thing, like you said, are you really entertained by it?
Not at all.
And that's the really hard part, right? I mean, that's a hard thing. You got teams in this market, and the Lions are, you can say what you want about the Lions. They're fun to watch. I know they win, and that makes it even more enjoyable, but they're fun to watch, and I think they're built the right way because they're built from the inside out. Are the Red Wings built the right way? I don't know, but I mean, there are more oftentimes than not, I do enjoy watching them, I think they compete for the most part.
I think this past year, Shep, this past year for me,
Yeah.
I think in previous years they weren't fun to watch at all.
Right. The Pistons are challenging watch. The Tigers are a challenging watch. There's no doubt.
Yeah. It is amazing too, because I think, much like we were talking about earlier in the show, and our society's become like this until recently. And again, I'm not kidding. We had people tell us you're not seeing what you're seeing out of the president of the United States up until this past week, where you couldn't deny it anymore.
Right.
And it's just, I mean, it was constant. It would, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What you're not seeing what you're seeing. And that, it's like, when I turn on the Tigers, I don't see what I'm seeing. I haven't seen what I'm seeing for the past decade. And then, you get it when you flip around the news channels and everything. It drives you cuckoo. So I need the safety, as Kirk said. I need the safety of hockey and college football, and I just need to hide in my little cocoon and not come out, because everything makes sense there. Because I mean, it really, we're in a point in time in society where people all over the place are telling you that you're not seeing what you're seeing. And it's like, I can't deal with that, man.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me how to feel, and don't tell me I'm not recognizing something. There are certain things that I may not know. All right. I may not know if it's quarterback's fault that he throws the interception because a wide receiver ran the wrong route. I don't know the route. Okay. I don't know the read. I don't know the protection. I don't know what he's looking at, but I do know that it was an interception. Don't tell me that it's not an interception. You can try to explain to me why or what happened, but I'm just telling you right now, it was a pick. You're trying to tell me I'm not seeing something. What am I missing here?
Yeah.
What am I missing from this team that doesn't score runs very well, doesn't get on base very well, doesn't defend very well, and has recently struggled out of the bullpen? What am I missing?
I think, by the way, you mentioned Torkelson. I think your boy Gibby is spot on with him. I think it's confidence. He honestly, I mean, you don't go on the tear that guy went on last year. And again, give him his flowers. He went on a tear down the stretch, okay? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you lose it. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. I think confidence has a lot to do with it. When he's young, I'm with you. I'm not saying that the guy's going to be a star. I'm not going to sit here and say that.
Right.
He's a hell of a lot better than what he was this year.
Absolutely. I honestly, I think he gets almost paralysis by analysis. I think if they just said, you know what, we're not showing you any of the numbers. We're getting out of all the analytics. Just go swing the bat. Go hit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do what you do best. The problem is, when you see a power hitter, quote unquote, a power hitter missing low to mid 90s fastballs, middle, and you're swinging and missing, or you're swinging and fouling them off, that's a problem.
Yep.
That's a serious problem.
As Eric brought up, Yankees, Red Sox. I'm sorry, I still like to watch Yankees, Red Sox. It reminds me. I know, Shep, you can see. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of being a little kid, though. It reminds me of Bucky bleeping Dent and Mike Torres and
Fisk and
it reminds me of all that stuff. I still get into it. I don't want it crammed down my throat. But at least this afternoon, it's like, oh, cool, 105. I'll sit down and watch Yankees, Red Sox.
The only problem with that is that every single game they play, seemingly, is on national broadcast.
Yep.
And people get tired of that.
I agree.
As far as I'm concerned, there are 3 rivalries in baseball. And it's really too bad. But there's only 3. And it's St. Louis, Chicago.
You got it.
It's Dodgers, Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Yankees, Red Sox. So don't feed me Tampa and New York. Don't feed me Toronto and New York. That's not the same. All right? It's just not. I mean, we don't have many rivalries in sports any longer. And a lot of that is either the NCAA's fault or whatever major league team or major league association there is. But those 3 are alive and well in baseball. And I think they're worth noting. I just get a little tired of it. That's all.
Hold that thought for just a second. We're going to close out in a couple minutes, but I got to run something by you we were talking about last week. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Legacy Partners. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters, like my family, by the way, have called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? And you know what? They'll hook you up. They hooked us up, because our friends at Legacy Partner are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents, and they provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped people like me by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you. And yes, like us, they will help save you money. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're paying too much and you could be underinsured. Enter Legacy Partners. Get your quote. I'm telling you right now, you won't regret it. We don't regret it. Give them a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Here's the number. You ready? 586-209-4106. That's 586-209-4106. Or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Shep, I know we got to get out of here, but you mentioned—
I want to tell you one more thing real quick.
Yes.
You know the last time the Tigers won back-to-back games?
Oh, this ought to be fun. May.
June 4th.
That's awesome.
The last time they won a series.
Wasn't
Texas.
that early June? Yeah, early June, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
That's the hard thing for, I think, Tigers fans to get around. There's no look, being consistent is really hard in sports, and being consistent is really hard in life. But I mean, that is painful. That's painful.
Yep. You mentioned rivalries and the lack of rivalries. We were talking about this last week, Blake and I. Think about our team, Shep. You could ask 10 fans, the Pistons, the Red Wings, the Lions, the Tigers, who is the biggest rival for each one of those teams, and probably get 3 or 4 answers to each team. Wait, like honestly, right now, here, today, July 6th, 2024, there is no possible way you could say that any of those teams has a definitive rival, because I think the closest one, people would say the Lions and the Packers, but then you have people like me. I grew up, I hate the Bears. I wanted to be the Bears so much. I was so envious of Ditka and the Super Bowl shuffle and all that. The Packers will never supplant the Bears for me. I'm serious. So isn't it kind of crazy when you said that clicked in my head? There are no true rivals. To me, a rival is you talk to 10 people and 10 people are going to spit out the exact same thing. The Colorado Avalanche.
But I think with Detroit, because of the proximity to Chicago and because of being in the same division, although the Red Wings no longer are.
Sure.
Still, the original 6 probably trumps everything. I think that is very convenient for us. We say Chicago because we see the Tigers play the White Sox frequently. We see the Lions play the Bears frequently. The Pistons and Bulls in the same division. What used to be the Wings and the Blackhawks. So I think that's really convenient. I suppose with the Wings, I would go Blackhawks and Maple Leafs, not necessarily in that order. Pistons, I always say the Bulls. All right. Lions, I'll say, Packers, but that's because there's a lot of people in northern Michigan who love Green Bay. Sure. And then, the Tigers, where is it? I mean, answer me this. Who has it ever been? Outside of 1987 and the Blue Jays.
You got it.
George Bell didn't deserve the win the MVP, and Alan Trammell did. Tell me the team that has been Detroit's rival. And don't start force-feeding Pittsburgh to me like Major League Baseball wants us to believe. That's not true. So I don't think there has been one per se.
I think maybe 84 with the Jays getting cute with their staff. There was that span 84 to the early 90s where, and you remember, you were old enough. Every time you went to a Jays Tigers game, it was an event. It really was. It was just an event. And then it kind of went away. And maybe it's because the Jays won the back-to-back World Series. I don't know. And obviously later they moved out of the division. But I'm with you. There hasn't been, I think for a little while there, maybe, Shep, 2006, the way the season ended, maybe it was the Twins. And then obviously the disaster of 2009 with game 163. But I'm reaching a little bit, aren't I?
Yeah, those are moments. I don't know if
I agree with you. Circumstances. I agree.
Right, yeah. It's funny because Jerry just sent in Tiger's biggest rival is Lions training camp. That's Jerry's dead on, man. That's real. That is so real. right now think about it. When you're in baseball, you've got a certain window to capture your audience. Once Lions training camp begins, it's back page.
Shep, I will say this, again, 49 days until week 0, there are people like me. I don't think a majority of people in this town realized how good Tarek Skubal finished the season last year because they checked out. I'm convinced of it. Yeah. I'm convinced of it. There was Lions excitement. There was Michigan excitement. There was Michigan. There were too many things going on for people to stay all dialed in. Unless you're, baseball elite, who they're going to be in, day out. I honestly, along the lines of what you just said and what Jerry said, I think the last month and a half of the season, I don't think half the fan base realized, oh my goodness, Tarek Skubal just arrived in front of our very eyes,
I agree with you. Yeah, 100%. I think you're dead on there.
Yeah.
Now the question is, will he remain a Tiger? We'll talk about that another day.
All right, you're the best. Let's catch up sometime this week, my friend.
You got it. Have a great weekend,
Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see. God bless you.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Produced by Todd Losey and Blake Matcherzak. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.